educator here at Community Hospitals and Wellness Centers in Bryan. And I'd like you to all help me welcome our sous chef today. We have Jody Spangler, and she is our new HR director. So I kind of jokingly say that this has become our new employee hazing. I say initiation, she says hazing, but it's not really that bad. Right. So today our theme is cravings. So we have 3 craveable recipes for you today. I know that a lot of people think that I have this like perfect diet and I never eat anything junky, but I'm like a junk food junkie at heart. You know, I could eat anything, you know, all the junk foods, but most of the time I try to choose healthier options. Sometimes I do eat, you know, the real junk food, but the healthier options are something that I find myself going towards to satisfy some of those cravings. So the 3 things that we're going to make today, we're going to do a breakfast cookie. I make this probably like 2 to 3 times a month in my house for my kids for breakfast, and they love it. Although I have had people come to my house and try these breakfast cookies later, and sometimes they say, those aren't cookies, Andrea. So sometimes I think I think of them as like a walking bowl of oatmeal. We're going to be doing a fruity frozen yogurt, and then we have a really yummy recipe to finish it out, and it's very reminiscent of most people's favorite bar snack. We have some breaded baked pickle chips. So they're absolutely delicious. So, and we're going to get to try them all today. Everybody's already tried our pickle chips, but we're actually going to get started here pretty quick because we're actually going to bake the cookies so our audience members can try them before they leave. So we have a good crowd today, so I'm going to have to make these cookies small. So to get started, I have some very ripe bananas, and you will notice that these, a lot of people would probably throw these out, but these, and I'm actually going to put on some gloves here real quick, these are like my sugar. I use black bananas as sugar in my house because they are extremely sweet. They're not bad. They're not going to hurt you if they're this color. They're just very soft, and they bake into things very well. Most people would use them in like a banana bread. This is how I use up my black bananas. I make breakfast cookies for my kids. Now these are really best right out of the oven. So I will throw these together in the morning, bake them, and then my kids come downstairs and they're always really excited that they have their breakfast cookies, and something kind of, it's quick and easy, but it's, you know, something baked and fun still. So I have a 1/4 cup of peanut butter then that I added, and I'm just going to mash the bananas and mash the peanut butter right into the bananas. I do prefer like a natural peanut butter for this recipe. It just blends a little bit easier with the bananas, but I think we're using just, you know, run-of-the-mill peanut butter today. Anything will work. To be honest with you, I never measure the ingredients in this recipe. I just kind of eyeball them. 2 bananas, I put some peanut butter in until it looks like a 1/4 cup, and then I dump the oats in until it comes to like a nice consistency that kind of resembles cookie dough. The other good thing about this cookie dough, I have a husband that is a cookie dough fiend, and I rarely let him eat it. Sometimes he sneaks it on me, but this is actually perfectly safe to consume raw. So, so Jody, I'll have you dump the oats in.
All the oats?
All the oats. So it's a cup of oats, approximately, and then I'm going to have you dump about half of those chocolate chips in. So about 2 tablespoons of chocolate chips. Perfect. Yep. And then we're
putting parsley in there.
No parsley in these. We'll save those for our ranch dip. So we're just going to give that a stir. And I'll have you move the bowls off that sheet. We have a parchment-lined baking sheet here. Sure it's all mixed in, and then so again, so this recipe would typically make 8 pretty big cookies. And I consider 2 a serving because, again, this is like a breakfast. So I would have like 2 big cookies and a glass of milk for breakfast, and you know that definitely tides my kids over until lunch. I might have a little something else with it if I'm really hungry, like an egg or something like that. So I'm going to, again, make these quite a bit smaller so that everybody gets to try one. So I'm just going to put little tiny spoonfuls. And they'll also bake quite a bit quicker since they're little tiny spoonfuls. Actually, Jody, what I might have you start doing is just kind of flattening them down a little bit with the fork. So again, like you saw how fast I made this. It's something that you can totally get up and do in the morning. You know, throw them in the oven, set the timer so you don't forget about them. Go get ready for work, or have your kids get ready for school, and they're ready pretty fast. And again, if you did want to make them a little bit smaller like I am, they are going to bake a little bit faster. And they're so cute when they're small. I think small things are just so cute.
It doesn't feel as guilty.
Right, right. And these are something you don't have to feel guilty about, because I mean, this is essentially, like I said, a bowl of oatmeal. I mean, there's nothing bad in it. There's fruit, there's oats. I guess there's a few chocolate chips, but not that many. So got to have a little bit of fun. Another thing that I'll do sometimes, because I have little kids, Jody was saying she has bigger kids, so they might not think this is fun.
Right.
But with my 4-year-old, what I will do, instead of the chocolate chips, I'll get the little mini M&Ms that you use for baking, and I'll have him like decorate the tops of the cookies with the M&Ms, and it keeps him busy for a long time, actually. So, and it's fun for him to do. So I will have our runner take these and go pop them in the oven. Get that out of the way.
How long do they bake for?
About 10 minutes or 10 to 12 minutes. Those, again, should bake a little bit faster. It all kind of depends. I like them straight from the oven. And I know a lot of people like cookies that are a little bit like doughy and gooey. So you can kind of adjust the time based on what you want. Again, there's no reason that you have to get them to a certain temperature or bake them until they're done, because it's perfectly safe to eat raw if you want. You could eat that with a spoon if you wanted. But to keep them a little bit longer, I do find if I bake them until they're a little bit more crisp, they do keep a little bit longer on the countertop. But generally, they don't make it past noon in my house. So if I make them for breakfast, they're gone. But if there is one left over, generally like a day, no more than 2 days on the countertop, and then they kind of start to taste like odd banana-y, if that, what I mean? Yeah. Like the banana flavor kind of comes through in a different way, and it's just, they're not that great. So they are best fresh. I wouldn't recommend making them in advance. If you did have some extra, you could try freezing them. That would be a way to kind of extend them. So the next thing we're going to do here real quick, since we have our cookies in the oven, we are going to make our frozen yogurt. So I have 3/4 of a cup of vanilla yogurt. And then, now you can't see how ripe these bananas were because they're peeled already, but I can open them with my gloves on. I have 2 frozen bananas here, and I'm just going to kind of, you can see they're frozen whole. I'm just going to kind of break them up a little bit as I'm putting them in. They break up pretty easily. Like, you don't even need a knife to do that. A lot of people will cut their bananas before they freeze them. You don't have to do that either, just freeze them whole. I've even thrown them in the freezer with the peels on and then peeled them after, and it all works. So I have 2 cups of frozen raspberries that are going in. So this is going to come out like the consistency of soft serve, right from the food processor or like a high-speed blender. So it's ready to go pretty much right away. You can then put it in the freezer, but it does sometimes get a little bit hard in the freezer, so you'd want to take it out and let it thaw a little bit before serving it if you are going to freeze it. Put it in the freezer or make it in advance. So it's going to get loud. And sometimes with this you have to take your spatula and just kind of scrape down the sides. It's pretty thick. Again, consistency of soft serve, it comes out very thick.
going. Just thinking about it.
We'll stop it again and scrape it down. Get the blades kind of loosened up. I have a super high-speed blender at home. I have a Ninja Chef, and it has like a wand that you can kind of push everything down as it's going. That works a little bit better, but this will still go. It just is going to take a second to, oops, dropping stuff all over the place. So Jody, what are some of your craveable, what do you crave when you're craving something guilty?
I'm what they call a saltaholic.
Saltaholic.
So anything salty.
Okay. Yep. What are some of your favorite salty?
Oddly enough, pickles.
Pickles?
All right. Pickles.
So you probably love the breaded pickle recipe.
They're delicious.
They are delicious. So the people that know me really well know that if there's Doritos,
Doritos are another
Doritos
option,
in front of me, like I have to have a handful of them. It's not something I routinely buy. You'll see I have a chef knife here, and I'm just kind of chopping up some of these bananas because it's not quite getting the bananas in here. Ladies and gentlemen, don't try this at home. Desperate times call for desperate measures. All right. Come on, bananas. Another thing that I crave often is chocolate. Do you ever crave chocolate, or are you not a chocolate person?
I like chocolate, but I don't crave it very often. I used to, but it's more salty things now.
Salty now. So I love chocolate, especially dark chocolate. And one of the things that I do to satisfy that chocolate craving is actually something that all of our audience members get to take home today, the cocoa dusted almonds from Blue Diamond. I absolutely love them. And they're really not all that bad for you. I should have checked the nutrition facts before I started, but I believe there's only like a couple, like less than 4 grams of added sugar per serving. And the serving size is pretty big. It's like 24 nuts. Plus you get all of the benefits of almonds. So definitely, it's actually a healthy snack, not just an indulgence. Blue Diamond actually has a lot of flavored nuts that can really satisfy like a salty, your salty tooth, I guess, your salty cravings, or your sweet tooth. Again, I like the cocoa dusted, but some of the saltier versions are really yummy too. It's going. There's a section here that is pretty well blended. It's just not doing it evenly. I can actually stir it now, though. We're almost there. I promise. Another ice cream alternative that I like to make, I'll just take bananas, just frozen bananas, and peanut butter. And in a really good high-powered blender, it comes out tasting like peanut butter soft serve, peanut butter banana soft serve. So that's another one that you can try at home. Again, just 2 ingredients. You don't have to measure amounts at all, just peanut butter and bananas. All right, that's looking great now. Can you see it on there? See how creamy it's getting? On our new screen that we have for our employees to see better what I'm doing up here. It's getting super creamy. We're going to give it one more spin, and then we're going to stir in the rest of our chocolate chips. Looks great now. All right, I'm just going to take the rest of the chocolate chips and stir those in. You want to stir the chocolate chips in versus blending them, otherwise you're going to have, I don't know, like little teeny tiny bits of chocolate. So I'm going to show you a little bit better what this looks like. Spoon it out into a bowl. Get my laid out. It's a really pretty pink color. If you don't like raspberries or don't have raspberries, other types of fruit that you could use would be like frozen strawberries. You could try any other berry if you wanted. You're not limited to the raspberries here. There's a lot of different options. If it gets a little bit too melty, it turns into a smoothie, so it's a win-win. So again, 2 sweet recipes there, and we haven't used any sugar at all, except there may have been some in the yogurt, and some in the chocolate chips, but we haven't added any sugar yet. So all healthy ingredients here. So I'm going to send this back so we can start getting some people some samples. I might change my gloves here because I have raspberry stuff all over them. All right, so the next thing we're going to do, Jody gets to help me quite a bit with this one. We're going to start our breaded pickle recipe. And first, I mean, what's a pickle? A fried pickle or a baked pickle in this case without a dip. So we're going to make some ranch dip real quick. Yep. So we have a half a cup of plain Greek yogurt. So I'll have you just put that into the bowl. And if you want to use a spatula, you can, or a rubber scraper. And then we have ranch seasoning powder. Now, if you want to go back to last month's episode and do the ranch dip that we made last month, that would be a really good option with these pickle chips as well. But we're just going to do a basic. We have some ranch seasoning powder we're going to put. You can kind of do it to taste. Some people were saying it maybe needed a little bit more seasoning. We're going to put about 2 teaspoons, but you can add a little bit more if you'd like. And then I'm going to chop up a little bit of parsley.
Oh, they're stuck together.
And we'll add that.
2 teaspoons, right?
2 teaspoons, yep. So I have some fresh parsley here, and I'm just giving it a chop. You don't have to have the parsley as fine as you did in our, our tabbouleh that we did earlier this year, or last year, I guess. So we're going to put some fresh parsley in there. Perfect. Let me get some of these out of the way. Looks good. So we have our dip ready, and then we're going to get started on our pickles. So we're going to make a dredging station. So Jody, I'll have you take the flour and put it in our first bowl right there. And that's it for that part. And then we're going to get the eggs. Are you a good egg cracker?
Nope.
Nope, I'll crack the eggs. I'll have you take your fork and you can whisk those up.
I can whisk. Cracking not
You
so
can
much.
whisk but not crack.
Not so much cracking.
There we go. So we have 2 eggs in there. And this is also something, if you don't want to make as big of a batch as we're going to make today, which when I tried this at home, I didn't want that many pickle chips because the only downfall of this recipe is they are very, very salty, because pickles are very, very salty, and there's not much you can do about that. So, I made a smaller batch for my family because I knew my kids weren't going to eat any, and it was just going to be me and my husband sampling them. So I cut the flour in half, did 1 egg, and used less panko. You can adjust this pretty easily to the amount that you want to make. If you just wanted to make some breaded pickle chips for yourself, just for a late night snack, that'd be pretty darn easy to do. So, and then on our third one, we're going to put our panko. And how do you do that? About a tablespoon. Honestly, I don't even know if you need any seasoning here. You can adjust this if you want. You can also use a salt-free ranch seasoning from last month's episode. but about a tablespoon in this recipe, and I'm just going to stir that around with my fork. Then I'm going to have you grab some of the paper towels.
Yep.
I'm going to have you do this part, so I'm going to do a switch here since our tray is over there. But we're just going to, you can just lay the paper towels out right there, and I might actually
Double them up.
double them up because pickles tend to be pretty juicy. You just want to dry them off a little bit. And I'm not going to do this whole jar of pickles because I know you don't want to sit here all day and watch me bread pickles. So we're just going to do a few of them to give you the idea. And if you want, while I'm drying the pickles off, if you want to take our olive oil, we have 2 tablespoons of olive oil, and just kind of spread that around the cookie sheet.
Should we wipe it down with the paper towel?
Yeah, sometimes I'll take a little piece of a paper towel and just kind of spread out the oil to get it evenly coated. That's probably plenty of pickles, actually. All right, and then actually going to take these off now. Grab a couple more paper towels and just kind of dry off the tops of the pickles. Perfect. And then just go ahead and start taking the pickles. The first step is the flour. So I'll have you put one in the flour. And that's perfect. And just kind of shake off any excess.
Oh, good thing I had an apron on. Huh?
Good thing. And then the egg. And then the panko. And sometimes you kind of have to press it on. And this is, I honestly hate dredging because my fingers always get coated in
The gloves are a good idea.
Yeah, gloves are. I'll have to get some gloves at home to start doing this. But yeah, I hate that feeling of all the stuff and dough sticking on my fingertips. So yeah, pretty simple concept here: flour, egg, and then the breadcrumbs, and then you put it on your cookie sheet, and then it goes into I have to check my oven temperature. I believe it's 425 hot, 400. You need a hot oven when you're doing any type of roasting, so 400 degrees. So it goes into a 400 degree oven, and you're going to do about 5 minutes per side. So put them in for 5 minutes, take it out, flip them over, and then another 5 minutes until they're nice and golden brown. And when they come out of the oven, they look like this, and they taste absolutely delicious. Yes. So, you know, honestly, when I had them at home, I could not tell the difference between, they tasted fried to me. They tasted like
I happen to be a fried pickle connoisseur.
Oh, really?
And yes.
All right.
So those were very
And you
close.
tasted them before we started today, so
Yep.
they were very close
They were very
too.
good. Yep.
The fried pickles that you'd get at your favorite establishment.
Classy establishment.
Right. So there we go. We just knocked out 3 craveable recipes in a very short amount of time, I feel.
Cookies
So
coming back. Oh,
yeah, so our audience members are getting some cookies. We might not have enough. We have a large crowd today, so I apologize if you didn't get a cookie. But hopefully y'all got some
everybody
ice
got one?
cream. Did everybody get one?
everybody got one.
Awesome. Perfect.
Good deal.
Good deal. Yeah. So thank you all for coming today. Thank you, Jody, for joining me
for
today
having
as a
me.
sous chef. Well, what'd you call
I
it?
don't feel hazed.
You don't feel hazed?
No, I don't feel
okay. Yeah, it's not that bad. I know our sous chefs get nervous sometimes, but you didn't act nervous by any means. So, but yeah, we have fun up here. So thank you to our audience members that joined us today and our viewers at home. And we look forward to seeing you again next month. So does anybody have any questions?